Here we go. Welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to hit like and the subscribe button. Brick Baby said everybody's running content on his name. Imagine that. He said everybody's running content on his name.
Fucker still running content on a conversation that got leaked from this motherfucker and keep on digging some shit up out my boy. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Dead homies, I don't give a fuck about nothing else. 60, nigga. Nigga's energy is what a nigga energy.
So that's who Brick Baby is. He was a grown man gang member. As you can see, he's telling you how it is. The energy, it is what it is.
He is on digging some shit up out my boy. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Dead homies, I don't give a fuck about nothing else. 60, nigga. Nigga's energy is what a nigga energy is. This my boy right here. Hold on, no, 3 days in a row, gang. You been here 3 days in a row getting asked the same question after we talk. Nigga, I still ain't watched it. I don't know what I said to cuz. Nigga, I was hiding, motherfucker. That ain't no excuse, nigga. I know one thing. The first time I asked you, first time I picked up the phone, I said, bro, I can remember one thing only that was derogatory that I said. Did I or did I not?
Speak on it.
On 60 crib. Everybody else, like, it's cool. Like, all this shit, it was a Monday show. It was a show yesterday. I love you, Adam. I'm not tripping off of you. It ain't nothing like that, cuz a nigga frustrated right now, bro. Because y'all digging shit. If a nigga say he ain't gonna watch it, a nigga ain't gonna watch it. And the nigga who leak it is fuck a nigga forever. And any nigga that ride with cuz on the dead homies, it is what it is, nigga. On 60 crib, nigga. And me and cuz are crashing niggas together. Or nigga, by myself, nigga, on the dead homies. Wherever niggas want to meet, nigga, I don't give a fuck about no HK Turtle. I'm going to give you a shout out today, cuz. On the dead homies, nigga. On 60 crib, cuz you a cop, nigga. You the police, nigga. You reach it. You want, nigga, you doing interviews with Alex Alonzo, this, that, trying to get your shit off the ground. On the dead homies, you got the address, nigga. To right here, right now, like y'all pulled up the last time, nigga. Niggas pull up. On the dead homies, pull up, nigga. On 60, because ain't no 40s coming to the 60 pushing no issues.
They said at one point in time, Brick Baby, he just got out of control. He couldn't handle himself. Don't forget, he's a grown man gang member. On 60, that's what he's known for. As I said, there's a good chance he might not get out of jail until he's in his 60s, in his 60. So this was going on with Brick Baby right here. He came a long way. They say he had a promising career, but he just couldn't leave that street life alone.
I wrote to say that, nigga. On the dead homies, because y'all know what it is, nigga. And a nigga play ball. Bitch, the only reason I ain't come outside kill one of you niggas, cause I was in front of these white niggas. Dead homies, nigga. Me and the homies would have crashed, nigga. On 60, nigga, I don't give a fuck about none of that, nigga. Shout out Devil Donut, nigga, in my real 40s, cuz. These niggas 68ers, though, nigga. On 60, and this my homeboy, nigga.
Welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe button. Tell a friend. Here we have another crazy story. Brick Baby. Believe it or not, I know it's just a matter of time before Brick Baby got caught up. The reason why I say that because, I mean, he on 60, he just loved. I mean, you know how he was. Plus, he was gang affiliated at an old age. Crazy if you think about it.
It's BET weekend this week. You know what I'm saying? All the steppers gonna be in the city, right? Look, cuz, telling you like this. When you see me, you better tuck tail and run, nigga. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's my weekend.
And 60, I got a diamond on Charleston White head. It could be more.
Me and you can't have no business.
Brick
You
Baby.
threaten to put money on my life. I'm a victim of a crime against a gangbanger like you.
Brick
You
Baby.
got on say no. I don't want to fight. I don't want to box.
Keep on running content on my name. I'm putting Kill Squad in the street.
Wow. Brick
Oh,
Baby.
yeah, Slot for Vaughn, right? Yeah. They say you can't say that no more.
Why? Oh yeah, because of no. Like who died?
You can't say that no more.
Oh, because of FGK.
That's what Brick Baby is known for. They said you can't say that no more. They say you can't say that no more. Don't forget that Brick Baby, he's the first one to let everybody know about Lil Pop and Lil Durk. But they say you can't say that no more.
Oh,
Nah, cause Lil Pop.
They say that Brick Baby, just like a lot of these individuals from California who call themselves gangsters, for some reason, they want to be known. They want to be like famous at the same time. And unfortunately, fame could be dangerous. As you can see what happened to Brick Baby.
That talk but doesn't walk the walk. But as you'll see in this video, this man has a rap sheet longer than Jason Love, and on top of this, he's willing to do the unthinkable, crossing his own flag for the money. And most importantly, you'll get to see who he really is behind the scenes and why he's about to spend the rest of his life in prison. So if you ever took Brick Baby as a joke, this video will certainly change your mind. But before we get into it, let me run the intro.
I think the issues that a lot of these individuals had, say for example, Big U, they didn't know when to stop. Like, they didn't know cutoff point. They just want to be gangsters forever. I don't know, but that's what I think though.
Begins on Bedford Avenue, located in the notorious Overhill section of the Rolling 60s. Here is where a boy named Zaire Mitchell was born to a notorious Los Angeles family. Not notorious on an official or legal level, but notorious in the sense that they were known as a serious hustling family. So given their potentially dangerous lifestyle, they smartly decided to let Zaire stay with his grandma whenever they were handling business. Basically, throughout his younger years, he was between his mom's house on Bedford and his grandma's house on Donview Place.
On 6-0.
To say that his family always wanted to put him in good
On
position,
6-0.
and sending him to private school as well. So growing up, Zaire attended Price Christian Academy and was known as a straight-A student and standout basketball player. Now, I do want...
You would have thought that Brick Baby would have said, no, I'm going to go the right path, but no. They said the streets called him. The streets was calling him. It's unbelievable if you think about it.
Point out that this isn't modern day or something, as the school is definitely located in the hood. But the point is that his parents put him in a good position. And early on, it was really paying off, as Zaire had a bright future ahead.
Zaire.
But then, his parents would meet some people that would change his family's trajectory forever. While Zaire was in middle school, his parents would meet and build a relationship with Big Meech and Southwest T, the founders of the notorious BMF. Ooh-wee, this took their hustle to a whole new level. Basically, they started with helping BMF expand to the West Coast, but then they were actually invited to live with them in Detroit. This was a financial...
I'm trying to figure out if that's where Brick Baby got his name from. Maybe. I had no idea that Big Meech, Brick Baby was, he know everybody. I do know that. I see why now.
Opportunity of a lifetime, and Zaire's parents would take up on it and flee to Detroit. Obviously, they would leave the kids back home to be raised by Granny, and this is when life would start to derail for Zaire. Once his parents left, he began to veer towards hanging out with his cousins in the hood, who happened to be notorious Rolling 60's members.
On
And
6-0.
unfortunately, as soon as he was introduced to the lifestyle, he knew that he wanted to be a part of the streets. But
On
because he was only 11
6-0.
to 12 years old, his cousins refused to put him onto the hood, and as a result, Zaire tried to create his own gangs.
And we started some called Inglewood, California Crip.
Okay.
Me and my best friend, Infalo.
Then, after giving up that idea, he decides to join something else.
From there, I joined a clique called CIP, and it was completely irresistible players. And the police ended up documenting us in the gang files as Crips in Progress. CIP. So they changed it from completely irresistible players to Crips in Progress because we was getting into so much shit in the area. So that was really my introduction.
So now, as a middle schooler,
So that's what's going on, Brick Baby. He was fascinated by the life. No, he was just fascinated by the life. I guess, he is where he is. Because he was fascinated by the life.
Zaire was roaming the West LA streets as an unofficial gang member. But then, his friend's uncle would find out about this, and things would not be good for them. Well, not in the way you'd think. Instead of being upset that they're in the streets like any responsible adult should, he was just upset that they didn't join his gang.
Uncle Mike, he found out we all was from this clique. And he came over there tripping one day. Like, he was bullying. Like, this is a big buff grown man. He came over there tripping on this one day. Like, I ain't having it. Like, y'all either go turn West Boulevard today or get over it.
So now Zaire is pressured with the ultimatum of joining the West Boulevard Crips. This was like a dream come true, except because he was told to do it, he now did not want to do it. Like, if I'm going to join somewhere, I'm going to do it because I want to, not because somebody else is telling me to do it.
Okay. I was finna beef for West Boulevard because he tried to make me. You know, I was rebellious back then, so I started hanging with the Harlem 30s.
So now, after rejecting the West Boulevards, he starts hanging out with the notorious Harlem 30s. He runs with them for a short time, but then his cousins come around and are like, you're either going to join over there or join us with the 60s.
On
Like,
60.
my mom always had a house nearby Slauson, and all my cousins lived on Slauson, so I ended up getting put on 60s like my 14th summer, but I always was affiliated.
So Zaire officially gets put onto the 60s during his 8th grade summer.
I got jumped by all old man. I squad with one, he was like 19, and I squad with like a 30-year-old and yeah, I got knocked out.
On
So now
60.
he's officially a Rolling 60s member right before starting out at his private high school. He's known as Zaire Mitchell at school, and on the block he's known as Wild Bill from the Overhills.
Zaire decided to go down the wrong path.
He's able to maintain an above 3.0 average at school and to become the backup point guard.
Okay.
Now, you might hear backup point guard and think that he was trash, but no. You gotta know where he went to school. They were stacked. We'll get into all of that in a second, but the point is that while he's doing all this positive stuff, he's also living the life as a full-time gangbang.
I'm trying to figure out if Brick Baby regrets where he is right now. It's not just Brick Baby or Brick You. A whole lot of these Crip members. Being locked up is their new home. I mean, what's so cool? I don't know. But that's their new home, though. They said Brick Baby, he might not get off for a while. Who did he look up to? Who did he want to be like? I'm assuming he wanted to be like somebody who's respected in the streets. But getting respect in the streets, you have to do a lot sometimes. You have to commit crimes a lot sometimes. It's a terrible thing, it really is.
When he wasn't at his Christian academy, he was knee-deep in very dangerous situations in the set. Specifically, his main expertise was robbing and extorting rappers who come to LA. And that takes us to 2004, June 29th, 2004. It's the weekend of the annual BET Awards in LA, and the Rolling 60s have nothing but a...
So, Brick Baby, I say he's an adult gang member now. 20 years later. 21 years later, they say he's still a gang member. Imagine that. I mean, was Brick Baby planning on being a gang member forever? I don't know, maybe though.
Portion on their minds. In particular, on this day, Zaire and his boys have somebody they want to talk
Jeezy.
Yep, that's right. Jeezy
The snowman, okay.
Desperately want that chain. Why him? Well, simply because he has the shiniest
Jeezy said
chain
first,
they've
I'm
ever
gonna
seen.
then what?
We've never seen
And then
like
what?
This. You gotta think, LA, like the real Gotti diamond jury, diamond in each link, like
Oh, you wanted
this
that.
has never been done in LA yet. The rapper's jury is very feasible. It's like if you get you some rapper jury and go to the jeweler, you up a couple $100,000.
Okay. Brick Baby was talking about crimes
for them, they're unable to get a hand
on
Jeezy
TV.
at the award show, so now they follow him to the club.
Show you the type
There
of
was so
person
many
he
of
is.
us, we pushed the security out the way, rushed the club.
So now Zaire and his boys run in the club and absolutely take it over. In fact, Zaire jumps behind the bar, grabs 2 bottles,
Brick
and
Baby.
stands up and clashes them together.
Brick
Simultaneously,
Baby.
his boys go over to the DJ booth and grab the mic.
Tell the whole club to roll the 60s in here.
Okay.
Like it's one of them nights.
After doing this, they wiggle over
Okay.
to the section that Jeezy's in, looking
You know,
to
once the
snatch his chain.
Rolling 60 shows up, you know what time it is. They're there to steal. Imagine that. Imagine me there to steal. I'm just talking, that's it.
Without their blinks.
They got like a chopper. This is my first time ever seeing like a mini Carbon or something. Like they got a chop out like, and we look back and I just go to shake Jeezy and ooh we in. Like what up, man?
Thankfully, the situation was stopped before it
Can't
even
trust
started.
these guys.
Now that
Imagine
the
that.
show's Just 16 years old, this is what Zaire was about. And because of his willingness to do anything for the 60s, he was increasing his rank. This is how he earned the name in the set of Shitty or Shitra.
As I said, it's the unfortunate thing about these gang members. You can't be respected unless the more and more you're willing to throw your life away. Oh, you want to throw your life away on what? Let me know right now on 60.
With the ability to put on new members. Well, in the late summer of 2004, he would bring his first young member to be put on the set. This would be a young friend of his by the name of Eric Holder. Eric was only 14 years old,
What happened to
already
Nipsey?
thirsty and ready to put in work in the set.
Everybody know each other.
So of course, Zaire brings him to the set, puts him on, and he earns the nickname of Lil Shitty. Big Shitty and Lil Shitty, a duo that would forever make history in the set. So being a big homie at just 16 years old meant that Zaire had a rider by his side.
Okay.
At first, this meant protecting the trap, which happened to be Zaire's mom's house. This is where you could find a whole lot of money, jewelry, and illicit items inside.
Okay.
So because of Zaire, his mom's house became the hangout spot
Brick
for the
baby.
Overhill 60s.
My house was the spot. She had money and shit in the house and a lot of jewelry.
On
So
60.
she let all the gangbangers kick it at the house.
Okay.
Because she had control of us, I had control of my homies, but we was like the security blanket.
Now remember,
Okay.
as he's committing felony robberies and hanging out on the block, he's still enrolled in private school.
I have to admit,
playing on the
Brick
basketball
Baby
team.
made it seem like being a gamer was
So
member
now
so
it's the
fun.
fall of 2004. and
Smile
Zaire's
on his
team
face.
has a major season ahead. The team is
Laughing all the
absolutely
time.
stacked as they have a 6'10" D1
So proud,
center,
so
a
happy.
6'7" D1 wing, and the point guard is Devin Williams, who you may know as In the Lab. Well, long story short, they're so good that they have an undefeated.
So that's what's going on, Brick Baby right here. Instead of going the right path, he decided to indulge in the streets. They said he's locked up right now. They say he might be facing so long. Don't forget, not only Brick Baby is a gang member, he's also a father.
State championship game in Sacramento. Of course, they win the state championship, beating a Bay Area team like LA always does. So on paper, everything in Zaire's life is looking good. A good GPA,
Zaire.
state championship, and also getting noticed on the AAU circuit. In fact, he was playing so well that he skipped his senior year of high school to go play at a basketball prep school in Mississippi.
Zaire.
Now, you'd think that with this great opportunity, Zaire would go into it with a positive mentality. Now that I'm out of state, I'm going to leave the gang stuff behind me
No.
and simply focus on basketball. But sadly, for whatever reason, he simply cannot let the street life go. So right after his senior year at the prep school, he catches his first case.
On
As
60.
he's riding around Mississippi in a car with no registration, the troopers get behind him. And because he has an illegal weapon in the car, he decides to take him on a chase.
On 60.
So he bends a few blocks, giving him enough time to roll down the window and throw out the clip and then throw out the weapon.
It's bad,
so then
man.
after getting rid of it, he rolls his window up and then pulls over so they can talk to him. Unfortunately for him, the officers did see him throw it, so they go around and they end up finding it. At this point, everything he's worked hard for is at jeopardy. He
Brick
could
baby.
quickly become a felon. However, because of a technicality in Mississippi law, he gets off with a misdemeanor.
Threw the gun, so they found the gun with no clip. That's a misdemeanor. Because it wasn't like,
Well, while this is going on and he's sitting in a jail cell, he does receive some very good news.
and while I'm there, I get an acceptance letter from Clark Atlanta University.
Okay.
So now he has the amazing opportunity to play on Clark Atlanta's basketball team and to go to school for free. Well, after presenting this to the court, the judge thankfully allows him to get out of jail just 2 days before orientation.
What day do you start orientation? He let me out 2 days before orientation, so I couldn't do no gang banging or nothing.
This was a close call, but thankfully they let him off easy and he's able to now focus on, well, is he? Oh, hell no. You'd think that catching that case would scare him straight. Like
No.
everything
On
I worked
60.
hard for almost was out of my hands. Like now I'm going to focus on basketball in school and definitely stay out of trouble. But nope, Zaire's entrance to Atlanta would be quite the opposite. As soon as he touches down in the city, he links up with his Rolling 60s cousins who now run with BMF. So while his classmates are sleeping in the dorms and kicking it on campus, he's with Big Meech at the club and sleeping in his mansion as well.
So I'm the youngest little dude. You know what I'm saying? Young in the club. 17, 18. I would meet you there though.
And as soon as he was introduced to their lifestyle, he fell in love with it and was willing to do anything to impress Big Meech, including trapping and moving weight while being a full-time college student. So just like that, an 18-year-old Zaire is risking his freedom once again. And unfortunately, during his second semester, it would all catch up to him. While heading down the interstate with 75 pounds in his car, a Georgia State trooper gets behind him. He throws some of the bags.
So that's what's going on, Brick Baby, right there. Check out part 2. Check out part 2. Sometimes hard for these individuals to learn. They need to go to, sorry, this is a terrible thing. They need to be locked away for many, many years. So maybe Brick Baby could finally learn many, many years later. But maybe not. On 6-0. They say crime don't pay, but I see them do it though. Unbelievable. Check out part 2. Here we go. Welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to hit like and the subscribe button. Tell a friend, tell a friend. They got him too. You know? They got him too. But let's get back to Brick Baby. Brick Baby was heading towards 40 years old. And he still wants to be affiliated with gangs. Imagine that.
None of that. So essentially what Zaire was trying to do was bring the Los Angeles way to Georgia, where he could have people under him and serving anything he wanted. So in order to do this, he hit the streets hard and recruited new members, guys who were under him and who would do anything he said. And in the process, believe it or not, they took over some serious hoods, and this is how Zaire truly made his name in Atlanta.
So Brick Baby, everyone knows about Brick Baby. We know his story. He became most famous ever since he started doing those no jumper interviews. It got to the point where Brick Baby started getting out of control. He started bringing firearms to work as a convicted felon. Unbelievable. Think about it, Brick Baby.
His Four Seasons apartments, the West End, and a Southside hood known as Shady Park. While in the process of expanding the set, Zaire unfortunately brought some havoc to the streets. In typical LA fashion, he began robbing and extorting rappers, a trend that Atlanta had never seen before.
No, that's somebody I robbed that was Gucci's best friend.
This is how he becomes known for robbing in Atlanta.
So this is the story of Brick Baby part 2. Go check out part 1. You know? Check out part 1, but this is part 2. There's a good chance right now, Brick Baby, they say he might not get out until he's almost 60 years old. Imagine that. On 6-0. Crazy though, if you think about it.
Somebody that you'd rather have on your side than against you. So he's basically extorting people for friendships, but on the flip side, he's also pretty intelligent. After befriending a local rolling 60 by the name of Pee Wee Longway, he ends up running his bag up like never before.
Mr.
If you're
Benjamin.
unfamiliar, Pee Wee was a very well-known hustler in the streets of Atlanta, known for running up millions. And because of this, he had...
Don't forget, Pee Wee Longway, he kept on getting back to the trap, and they got him right now. Imagine that. They said Pee Wee, he was running up millions of dollars with no-hit songs. Imagine that. Pee Wee say, you know, it's time to get back to the trapping. But let's focus on Brick Baby. Let's focus on Brick Baby right now, though.
to the up-and-coming and major rappers in Atlanta.
I met everybody through Pee Wee Longway. That's my brother. That's like my brother-in-law.
As they were constantly in studios and surrounded by rappers, they decided to join together and to start a music label. This would be known as Money, Piles, and Ammo, also known as MPA.
Okay, so you guys started rolling together and you guys start MPA together.
We around it so much. Let's pay for some studio time, shoot a couple videos. Let's just see where this goes.
Time to get back to the track.
Unfortunately, they had no idea how to properly run a business. But aside from that, Zaire had a special ear for talent. In fact, he discovered Young Thug in 2008 and actually started managing his career early on. Without having him signed to any sort of paperwork, Zaire had him in the studio and was also introducing him to some bigger names. In fact, in 2009, he even brought him to LA to try to get him in the studio with Nipsey Hussle.
Nipsey?
I started showing him the game with what's going on the West Coast too.
Right.
You know, I took him in front of Nip in like 2009 and told him to work with him. And
so that's what's going on with Brick Baby. Since 2009. Basically, it said Brick Baby, he's been in the streets since he was basically a teenager. So throughout his teenagers, throughout his 20s, now he's in his 30s. Don't forget, they say he might not get out until he's in his 60s. But I have to admit, Brick Baby, he wasn't a regular gang member. He was so proud. Imagine that. Imagine being a proud gang member. Crazy if you think about it, though.
Nip was like iffy. Thug was slime then. He was real, like, you know what I'm saying? He was out here robbing, doing all, regular hood. So
The point is that he was helping out Atlanta artists, and he had a really good ear for talent. So not only does he have a potentially major label at his hands, but he's also doing pretty well financially. In fact, in 2009, he copped a nice condo in Sandy Springs, a fly whip, and he was just doing his thing.
Okay.
Once again, things are truly looking good for him.
Brick
But
Baby
sadly,
doing his
this is
thing.
when he's met with some terrible luck. October 22nd, 2009. It's a Thursday night in North Atlanta, and Zaire is headed down Interstate 19, headed towards
Brick
downtown.
Baby.
As he's cruising down, a Georgia State Patrol gets behind him and runs his tags.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he never registered the car, so the officer hits the cherries.
Okay.
Ah, shit, here we go again.
Zaire knows that he's riding dirty as a convicted felon, so he smashes on the pedal. Now he's on a high-speed chase, cutting in and out of traffic in Buckhead, and then
So that's how Brick Baby was living his life. I said he wasn't a normal person. He was a proud gang member. Imagine trying to pull over a gang member and expect them to stop. You can't do that. You got to keep on going if you're a real gang member.
down, a Georgia State Patrol gets
Brick
behind
Baby.
him and runs his tags. Unfortunately, he never registered the
Brick
car, so
Baby.
the officer hits the cherries.
Ah, shit, here we go again.
Zaire knows that he's riding dirty as a convicted felon, so he smashes on the pedal. Now he's on a high-speed chase, cutting in and out of traffic in Buckhead, and then he smashes into a pole. Just like that, the officers are able to pull him out of the car, and they find weapons inside. This time, it's no joke, as he's facing 4 separate felonies. So already being a convicted felon, he's looking at up to 12 years in prison. But somehow, once again, Zaire is able to completely avoid prison and only get a few months in jail.
Don't forget the reason why Brick Baby, why he is right now, why he locked up right now. He was a felon, walking around with firearms. He got caught with firearms. I said he took a firearm to work with him. He took it to No Jumper and he showed it to everybody. He was hanging out with Loose Cannon. I don't know if he was scared of Loose Cannon, but either way, they got Loose Cannon too. Imagine that. Imagine being a felon and bringing a firearm to work with you and showing everybody, look what I got, on 6-0.
Convicted felon and documented Rolling 60's Crip only gets a few months in jail for 4 separate felonies. That makes no sense in my mind. Well, once again, he gets off easy and he's right back on the streets in early 2010. But not for long. On July 28th, 2010, he would have another high-speed chase while on probation.
He's a bad
and
man.
yet again, he's caught with a weapon and facing 10 years in prison. But mysteriously, the judge lets him off easy and he only does 18 months. Now, before you call him a snitch or an informant, do understand that this is Fulton County, which is a complete joke. Well, regardless, it's now 2012 and the MPA boss returns to the streets. While he was away, Pee Wee Longway was able to discover young rappers Lil...
As you can see, Brick Baby, he's no stranger to getting locked up. You would think after a while, he would say, you know what, enough is enough. I'm tired of getting locked up. But no. As I said, Brick Baby, he wasn't a regular gang member. He was a happy, proud gang member.
Rich Homie Quan in a group called the Migos.
Rich Homie Quan before he came out. I'm hearing 21 Savage before he came out.
So as soon as Zaire got out of prison, he was connected with them and actually started helping their careers. Not only did he pay for their studio time and connect them with rappers, but he also provided them with protection. Dirk being an outsider from Chicago and the Migos being suburban wannabes, they both could use some protection. But most importantly, the biggest thing he provided was protection whenever the rappers went.
Imagine that. The Migos, suburban wannabes, imagine that. We see the Migos from the suburbs, but they want to portray to be gangsters, imagine that. I wonder why everybody want to be a gangster, imagine that. Unbelievable. Think about it, though. I wonder why, though.
LA. In fact, he even brought Future to LA for the very first time.
Future?
You know what I'm saying? I've been that person, like, bringing them out here. Like, I had Future. I turned LA on the Future. I was listening to Dirty Sprite 1. You know, I brought them out here to do a song with Nip.
Essentially, he was every rapper's connection whenever they'd go to LA. He was the first and only call. Remember this, because it will be very important.
Brick
Well,
Baby.
as we know, everyone around him and Pee Wee was getting rich and famous during this period. And after a while, they got kind of tired of being the guys in the back background, and they wanted to try rapping for themselves. So Zaire would become MPA Shitro or MPA Brick Baby, and Pee Wee was still Pee Wee Longway. Early on, things were looking bright for the duo as they had the help of Durk, Future, Young Thug, Gucci Mane, and more.
Don't forget Pee Wee Longway. He said he had that Amigo plug. Imagine that. Time to get back to the trapping. Pee Wee couldn't stop trapping. Brick Baby couldn't stop playing with firearms. Now they both locked up. I mean, they said Pee Wee, he was making millions. All that trapping he was doing. And Brick Baby,
because of everything they had done for them, if they ever needed a feature, it was done right away. But then, unfortunately, as things are going up for Brick Baby, he catches another felon in possession charge in Los Angeles.
Not again.
And this time he's sentenced to 3 years in prison.
That long?
As he's sitting in a lonely prison cell, everyone around him is getting rich and famous. Young Thug signs with Birdman and blows up, Future blows up, Lil Durk blows up, Rich Homie Quan blows up, Pee Wee Longway blows up. Well, kind of, but you get the point.
Pee Wee Longway in jail, Young Thug in jail, was in jail, Rich Homie Quan no longer here. Who else? Crazy if you think about it, though. They all gone. Future's the only one that's out. That's doing good.
And don't forget that the Migos get a feature with Drake, and they're out of here as well. So literally everyone who was with him in Atlanta completely blow up and get nationally famous. All while Zaire Brick Baby is sitting in a California prison with no fame or nothing. Damn, that would shatter any man's ego. Don't act like it wouldn't. But on the flip side, because they're all rich and famous now, he assumes that once he gets out, they'll definitely put him on.
Break bread.
So 3 long years go by and Brick Baby is finally released.
Free!
It's 2015 and Brick Baby is finally home expecting a warm welcome. But as soon as he touches down, a harsh reality kicks in. These guys are not your real friends. Aside from Thug, Pee Wee, and Durk, his friends were not there to help him out and pretty much wanted nothing to do with him.
You know, you told me earlier that you've been cut off. People cut you off or something of that sort.
My industry friends that I thought was my friends now. Free YSL, Gunna, Slime. Y'all did, you know what I'm saying? You already know, we ain't even got to talk long way.
Are we speaking
Dirk.
like
After everything he did for some of his friends in the industry, he really took it hard.
Don't forget about what Brick Baby said about Lil Durk and Lil Pod. Brick Baby, he's been connected with everybody. Unfortunately, everybody he's connected for the most part are criminals. Imagine that. So it's no surprise why he is where he is right now. But would he really get out when he's in 60s? He might. On 6-0. It's crazy, though.
Bro, we could go through DMs or when you was up and coming, we could do that. I just feel like they wanted to be around me when they was broke because they didn't have nothing. So now you a millionaire now, you don't want that type of pressure around. But you think I'm going to turn that energy on you? You my boy. I love you. I wouldn't give a fuck if you had $1 or $1 billion. I'm going to treat you the same way.
Brick Baby was now a peon or an afterthought to many people he helped out, and this truly hurt his ego.
Brick Baby.
Now, instead of being the guy who helps out rappers and protects them, he reverts to being the guy who wants to rob them. Don't come to LA. Unless your name is Durk, Thug, or Pee Wee, you better tuck your tail.
Check in.
So as the streets tell it, Brick Baby becomes the biggest chain collector in LA. Basically, he had his young Rolling 60's members doing serious homework.
Imagine that. That's so disrespectful. They said Brick Baby, he was down and out financially. He needed money. He started going above and beyond to get it. I mean, I guess you have to do what you gotta do to survive, though, I guess, you know, if you think about it.
Streets. This included having them sit at the airport for rappers to come to town and then following their cars back to their hotel.
Where big you
relay all of this information back to Brick and he'd do with it what he pleased.
Okay.
So basically, without them knowing, rappers were being tracked by Brick Baby the second they stepped foot in LA. Then he and the Rolling 60's would wait for the perfect opportunity to strike.
Okay.
Get up on him and give me everything you got. So just like that, he went from being known as the helpful guy in the industry to the boogeyman.
Whoa.
And because of this reputation, he would be featured on YG's notorious song, Don't Come to LA.
Don't come to LA.
Come to LA, raffles for their jewelry.
Don't come to LA.
Bro, LA is so corny, bro. But anyways, as the YG feature would help his recognition, he was still hurting financially. How I know this? Well, he was now 29 years old and still taking penitentiary chances. And that takes us to September 21st, 2017. It's an early Thursday afternoon on the west side of LA, and BRICK and 2 Rolling 60's members are masking up for a lick.
BRICK got his mind made up.
They aim to hit a high-end jewelry store in the wealthy Marina del Rey. So at 1 p.m., they arrive in front of the store in a gray Range Rover SUV.
Oh, he living
then
good.
They quickly hop out of the car and run inside the store with bags. Once they're able to secure a few expensive items, they run out of the store and hop back.
Is that the truth? BRICK Baby really a bad man like that? Imagine that. Is BRICK Baby saying, you know what, I gotta do whatever to survive? Nothing's off limits? I don't know. Either way, they say he's a bad man. If he really did it, he's a bad man.
BRICK then quickly speeds away, not realizing that LAPD are already behind him. After bending a few blocks, he hears the sirens and knows they're in trouble. So he instantly punches the gas and busts a left down a residential road. This is when he finally realizes that it's a dead-end street. So now he has no choice but to stop the car and run inside a nearby apartment. While he barricades himself in the lobby, police completely surround the area. And from here, a 6-hour standoff begins. BRICK Baby in the 60s versus LAPD.
BRICK Baby's a bad man.
Finally, at 7:30 p.m., BRICK Baby surrenders.
Misunderstanding tonight, or was it justified? A local rapper arrested after a tense standoff with officers in Marina del Rey, but his family says police got the wrong guy. NBC4's Beverly White just spoke with his family and police. Beverly.
That's right, Chuck. LAPD says it started with a 20-minute pursuit this afternoon of a man traveling in a silver Range Rover. And it ended when he ducked into this apartment building in the 13,900 block of Pan A Way. That music video from YouTube is of local rap artist BRICK Baby. 29-year-old now in LAPD custody after a standoff in Marina del Rey. Identified by his mother, who declined to give her name.
The already 3-time felon is facing 2 more of them things. Because of his history and the severity of the charges, he's facing up to 15 years in prison. Definitely nothing to scoff at. Of course, his family doesn't want to see him go away for a long time. And because of this, they go on the news and blame everything on his co-defendant. His mom goes on the news and says, "My son didn't rob anyone. In fact, he doesn't even own a gun." And get ready for this one. His friend is actually the one who robbed the store, and BRICK only drove him away because of adrenaline. So she evidently threw his co-defendant under the bus. And I don't know, is this snitching? It's his mom, but... Yeah, it's snitching, right? Well, long story short, BRICK is let off easy again as he's sentenced to 4 years in prison. And even though this isn't that much time, with 4 felonies on his record, what is he going to do for the rest of his life? Obviously, this is a harsh reality for a guy in his 30s, but sadly, during his prison stay, things get even worse.
The music world is mourning Grammy-nominated rapper Nipsey Hussle, who was killed in a shooting in Los Angeles.
So that's what's going on, BRICK Baby, right there. That's what's going on, BRICK Baby. They say he never learned anything. They say he didn't learn anything at all. Only thing he kept on learning was never getting out of a gang. So he is where he is right now. Matter of fact, when you get a chance, check out part 3 of this video. BRICK Baby. I'm saying he's not getting out till he's 60s, in his 60s on 6-0.